Alright, let's talk about the CrossFit Open. Not in the sense of like rules and stuff like that for people competing at Friday Night Lights, but just about the changes that are happening in CrossFit for as far as the sport side of it is considered. A quick video here because I know some of you guys follow along with that, and you'll notice that this year CrossFit has made a lot of changes. There is no more regionals, which was the second step from the Open to the region to the games. CrossFit has eliminated regionals, put way less resources to the CrossFit Open. Last year I think there was like 400,000 total people that signed up. This year it's roughly about half that. I mean, the numbers are still coming in. We'll see it come in on Monday for a total, but I really doubt they're going to make up 200,000 people in a couple of days. So I'm guessing there's going to be a pretty big decline in the Open participation this year. And that makes sense because the marketing towards it, the amount of material that CrossFit just pumped out, like videos, update show, Instagram stuff, Facebook stuff, was intense in the past leading up to the Open. And this year it's been fairly quiet. But one of the things that I want to address is why this is happening. Some people are like, CrossFit's dumb, CrossFit screwed up, CrossFit killed their sport, blah, 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 blah. Okay, first off, hello. You need to know your stuff. From 2001, when CrossFit was first introduced online, till 2007, that whole entire 6-year span there was no such thing as a CrossFit Games or a CrossFit sport. CrossFit was just a methodology. It was a fitness program that challenged the current fitness programs out there, not only due to its superior results, but just in its way of thinking. Fundamentally, the eating habits were way different, the training habits were different than you saw at conventional gyms, okay? Fast forward to 2007, where they had the first CrossFit Games at Dave Castro's ranch, his parents' ranch. A couple people got together for a barbecue, and it escalated from there. As you guys know, the sport became very popular. It exploded with growth. It went from Dave Castro's ranch to the StubHub Center to Madison, Wisconsin, and all this stuff in between of competitive athletes, media coverage. It paved way for multiple companies to come in and provide knee sleeves, belts, wrist wraps, all this stuff that quite a few years ago wasn't all that popular. That is now really popular. Gotta go ahead and silence the cell phone. With that being said, I hear a lot of like negativity on the side of people. It's almost like this like us versus them, like competitive CrossFitters, fans of the sport versus CrossFit the company. And one thing I want to go over real quick is that when Greg Glassman started CrossFit, he had no intentions of ever making it a popular sport. That wasn't even in the thought process of anything. That was just an unintentional consequence of what happened with CrossFit. Good consequence, don't get me wrong. But what started to happen is the sport overshadowed the methodology. And what happened there was everybody considered CrossFit with the sport. I mean, as an affiliate owner, I hear it all the time. Oh, I can't do CrossFit. I saw it on ESPN. That looks ridiculous. I'm too old for CrossFit. All these different things. As an affiliate owner is the number one inhibitor to business for me. People come in, they're intimidated by the movements. They've seen the very, very tip of the spear, and they're thinking, I ain't doing that, there's no way in hell. On top of that, the games put a huge strain on CrossFit's resources. I think there was like a quote from Greg Glassman in the Morning Chalk Up, you guys could check it out if you want, where he said something like, we spent $1 million to find the fittest person in Brazil. That is not a good resource of $1 million, especially if you're trying to become a fitness methodology that is aligning itself with the medical community to help cure obesity and chronic disease and hopefully save lives by the millions with its potent results from the fitness program. So if your main objective here is to cure chronic disease, cure obesity, give people an outlet and a way to move functionally to better their lives and better their lifestyle, the CrossFit Games has very little to do with that. Now, it works as an advertisement piece. Sure, it's sexy, it's cool to see people at the top of the sport perform things we can't even imagine, but at the same time, it doesn't do very much for the overall purpose and vision of CrossFit, the methodology. The other thing I hear a lot of is everybody like sides with like, oh, I'm on the side of the competitive, the Open sucks now, it's this and that, and it's like, no, dude, get over it. I know if you're competing at the Open to try to make it to that next level of the regionals and now that option is no longer there, I hear it all the time, well, what's the point of competing in the Open? I know I'm not gonna make it to the games. Well, I ask you, what's the point of competing in a half marathon or a marathon if you're not gonna qualify for the Boston Marathon or for the Olympics? What's the point of practicing basketball on your driveway if you're never gonna make it to the NBA? What's the point of ever doing anything if you're not gonna be at the very top of the sport? That sounds pretty weak. That doesn't even make any sense. Second piece of it is there was a lot of layoffs and different things like that in CrossFit HQ because they ditched essentially the whole entire media side of their company. They no longer needed that many people in the media as far as the competitive sport was considered for the games, so they eliminated it and started to lay off, which that is always tough because all those people worked very hard. They didn't ask for this. They didn't realize what was kind of coming in the future, I doubt it, that the sport was gonna go so big and it was gonna pull away from CrossFit's main objective. You know, I feel bad for all of them. Some of the people in the media side, it's probably a better opportunity. You've already seen Tommy Marquez and Sean Willen start their Inside Elite Fitness, which is gonna be the update show, but independently and owned by them now, so you can't get laid off if you own it. Heber and Marcin, who brought all the videos that we love to watch, all the Fitness on Earth documentaries and those things, they have also branched off and started their own media company that is just probably gonna be massive, and they're gonna do very well for themselves. The people that does kind of suck with is the IT people, the tech, the behind the scenes people that we actually don't know a lot of, which, you know, it is probably a tough time for them, so I feel for you guys and recognize that. But at the same time, for the competitive CrossFit athletes, you built a whole entire, or you were able to build a whole entire platform off of CrossFit and the sport that it's provided you. Most of the competitive CrossFit at the top of the sport at the games were all level 1 staff seminars, meaning they trained the trainers when you went to go get your level 1. Sounds again like CrossFit gave you another outlet to be very good and continue to make a paycheck off teaching people CrossFit and allowing you to compete in competitive CrossFit. Also, the whole ecosystem of all the sponsors that sponsor you now started from the CrossFit Games, okay? All of that was built off the back end of CrossFit. So for anybody to turn around and say, oh, CrossFit doesn't care about us, CrossFit ditched us, you might want to put yourself in check, because it looks to me like CrossFit provided you with a platform over the last 12 years, if you go from 2007, we'll really call it from 2010, over the last 7 to 8 years, have provided you a platform in which you could launch a whole personal brand and a business and all the ecosystem of business that come out of it, okay? So don't be upset when CrossFit pulls back the reins on the sport and says, no, we're gonna go all in on the true purpose of CrossFit, which is aligning with the medical community, changing fundamentally the way people train, curing obesity, curing chronic disease, and improving people's quality of lives. Okay, unfortunately, the sport doesn't have that much to do with that. And on the flip side of that, it'll live on. Look at all these sanctioned events that are licensed to use the name that will have massive success in the future, and it's actually gonna probably be better for the growth of the sport in the long run. Whenever there's a short-term change, people freak out, there's change, but I really think that this will be beneficial for the sport over a longer period of time. So, lessons go to don't just jump on and make it an us versus them mentality. Try to understand CrossFit's vision first. Try to understand where they're coming from, and then make your opinion on it. Don't just side with popular belief because that's what you think and we got something taken away from us. Never owned it in the first place. All right, that's my take.